B.J. Mayfield Originals. The Carnival Under the Bridge. There was a place beneath the old railway bridge that nobody talked about. Children called it the Whispering Place. Adults called it a dangerous part of town. And every child knew one rule. Never answer when something under the bridge calls your name. 12-year-old Marcus thought the rule was ridiculous. Until the day he heard it. Marcus. He stopped walking. His friend Tasha looked at him. What? You didn't hear that? Hear what? Marcus looked underneath the bridge. Nothing. Then. Marcus. This time Tasha heard it. They both ran. The next afternoon, they returned with 3 friends. Because children have a strange relationship with fear. Sometimes they run from it. Sometimes they come back just to prove they aren't afraid. They entered the darkness beneath the bridge. At first, nothing happened. Then they heard laughter. A small red balloon floated out of the darkness. Everyone froze. A man stepped into the light. He wore an old-fashioned carnival costume. Not a clown. Not exactly. He looked like someone who had wandered out of an amusement park decades ago. His face was painted white. His smile was enormous. And his eyes seemed to change whenever someone looked away. "Hello," he said. Nobody answered. He pointed at Marcus. "I know what you're afraid of." Marcus stepped backward. The man smiled. "I know what all of you are afraid of." Tasha grabbed Marcus's arm. "Don't listen." The man laughed. Then he pointed at each child. "You." He pointed at Marcus. "Being alone." Marcus froze. "You." He pointed at Tasha. "Being forgotten." Tasha's face changed. "You." He pointed at another boy. "Failing." Another. "Being laughed at." Another. "Not being good enough." The children became silent. The man smiled. Fear makes people easy to control. Marcus suddenly realized something. "You're afraid." The man's smile disappeared. "What?" Marcus stepped forward. "You know everything we're afraid of." He pointed at the man. "But you never told us what you're afraid of." Silence. Tasha understood. "Maybe that's why you hide under the bridge." The man's expression changed. "You don't understand." Marcus shook his head. "No." He smiled. "Maybe you don't understand." The man stepped toward them. The shadows behind him began moving. The children ran. But this time they didn't run away from the bridge. They ran toward the neighborhood. They told everyone. At first, nobody believed them. Then another child reported hearing the voice. Then another. Then another. Soon the adults began asking questions. The city inspected the bridge. They discovered an abandoned maintenance tunnel beneath it. Inside were hundreds of drawings. Pictures made by children. Some were happy. Some were frightening. Some showed the same strange carnival figure. But there was something else. Written across one wall were 4 words. "Fear grows in silence." The neighborhood understood. The bridge wasn't simply a scary place. It had become a place where children brought their fears. And something had learned to use those fears against them. So the community did something unexpected. They opened the bridge. Not at night. During the day. They cleaned it. Painted it. Installed lights. And built a small community art center beneath it. Children were invited to draw their fears. Then they were invited to draw what they wanted their lives to look like beyond those fears. The first picture Marcus drew showed a boy standing alone beneath a dark bridge. His second picture showed the same boy standing beside dozens of people. The first was titled, "What I Fear." The second, "What I Know Now." Weeks passed. The carnival man never appeared again. Until one evening, Marcus saw him standing across the street. Marcus wasn't frightened. He walked toward him. The man looked different. Smaller. Older. Almost human. Marcus asked, "Why did you scare us?" The man looked at the community center. "Because nobody came here anymore." Marcus frowned. "What do you mean?" The man looked down. "This place used to be full of people." Marcus waited. "I was part of the carnival that used to come through this neighborhood." He pointed toward the empty lot nearby. Then the carnival disappeared. Marcus asked, "And you stayed?" The man nodded. "I became part of the story." Marcus understood. The monster beneath the bridge hadn't been created by magic. It had been created by loneliness, fear, rumors, and years of people refusing to look underneath the bridge. Marcus smiled. "You don't have to stay here anymore." The man looked at him. "Where would I go?" Marcus pointed toward the community center. "Inside." The man hesitated. "People will be afraid." Marcus smiled. "Then we'll introduce you properly." The man slowly walked toward the building. Inside, children were drawing. Parents were talking. Music was playing. Nobody screamed. Nobody ran. Marcus introduced him. "Everyone, this is Elias." The man looked surprised. A little girl handed him a crayon. "Do you draw?" Elias smiled. "Sometimes." She handed him paper. "Then draw something." Elias sat down. For the first time in many years. He wasn't hiding underneath the bridge. He was sitting underneath the lights. And when Marcus looked at the picture Elias had drawn, he smiled. It wasn't a monster. It wasn't a clown. It wasn't a nightmare. It was a bridge. But this time, the bridge wasn't dark. It was covered in lights. And underneath it stood hundreds of people. Together. Marcus looked at Elias. "What's the picture called?" Elias thought for a moment. Then he wrote 3 words. "No more hiding." Marcus smiled. And from that day forward, whenever somebody in the neighborhood heard a frightening voice beneath the bridge, they didn't run. They turned on the lights. They called somebody. They talked about it. They faced it together. Because they had finally learned something important. Fear becomes powerful when we hide it. But when we bring fear into the light, sometimes we discover that the thing underneath the bridge isn't nearly as powerful as we imagined. The end.